In 1720, the smartest man alive lost a fortune. Not a foolish man, not a reckless gambler. Isaac Newton. The man who decoded gravity, who mapped the planets. He put his money into a hot stock early, watched it soar, sold, and made a tidy profit. Then he watched it keep rising. Watched his friends far less clever than him grow rich. And he could not stand it. So he bought back in near the top with much more. And he lost almost everything. If the greatest mind of the age could fall for it, what chance do you have? Newton was caught in something with a name. A bubble. And bubbles may be the strangest thing money ever does. Because they are not rare freak accidents. They are a pattern, one that repeats almost identically. Across centuries, across countries, across cultures. The same story again and again and again. And once you learn its shape, you will see it everywhere, including one day around you. So here is the shape of a bubble. It begins with something genuinely new or genuinely exciting. A new flower, a new company, a new technology. At first, the people who buy in are right. The thing has real value. The price rises for good reason. But then something shifts. People stop buying it for what it is and start buying it only because the price is going up. They don't really want the thing. They want to sell it to someone else for more. And as the price climbs, everyone else sees it. They see their neighbors getting rich, doing nothing. And a feeling creeps in, older than money, the fear of being left behind. So they buy, which pushes the price higher, which pulls in more buyers, which pushes it higher still. Everyone knows deep down that it cannot last. But everyone also believes they'll get out in time. Just before the end, cleverer than the rest. And then one day, for no clear reason, the buying stops. And a thing that only had value because it was rising has nothing left to hold it up. It doesn't drift gently down, it falls off a cliff. To see it clearly, go back 400 years. To Holland, the 1630s. The Dutch are the richest people in Europe. And they have fallen in love with a flower. The tulip. It was new to Europe, exotic and beautiful. Some bulbs produced wild flaming streaks of color, and these rare bulbs became a symbol of status and wealth. If you were rich, you owned tulips. And so the price of the rarest bulbs began to rise. At first, that made sense. They were rare and prized. But then the pattern took over. People began buying bulbs not to plant them, but to sell them on for a profit. Merchants, then nobles, then ordinary workers, all rushed into the tulip trade. Prices doubled, then doubled again, then again. In the final months, some bulbs rose 20-fold. A single tulip bulb could cost more than a skilled craftsman. Earned in a decade. Stories tell of one rare bulb trading for a fortune, a house, acres of land, whole estates. For a flower that would wilt within a week. People sold farms to buy bulbs they never even saw. Bulbs still in the ground, traded on slips of paper, betting only that the price would rise. And for a while it always did, until February 1637. At a routine auction in the town of Haarlem, the buyers for once simply did not come. The price flinched, then word spread. And the spell all at once broke. Everyone wanted to sell, no one wanted to buy. In a matter of days, the most prized objects in Holland became nearly worthless. Bulbs that had cost a fortune could not be sold for 1/100th of the price. Paper fortunes simply evaporated. The flower was exactly as beautiful as before. Nothing about the tulip itself had changed. Only the story people told about it. And when the story stopped, so did the money. It would not be the last time. Fast forward 80 years to the year 1720. This time it isn't flowers, it's stocks. In France, a Scotsman named John Law had built a company in a frenzy around it, tied to the riches supposedly waiting in the Mississippi. Its shares exploded. Ordinary people became paper millionaires. The very word millionaire was coined in this moment. And then, of course, it collapsed. Law fled the country in disguise. But the fever had already leapt across to England. There it gathered around the South Sea Company, a company with grand promises and very thin reality. Its shares became the obsession of London. In January 1720, a single share cost around £128. By spring, it passed 300, then 500. By that summer, over £1,000. Lords, merchants, servants, poets, everyone scrambled to get in. And among them was Isaac Newton. He bought early, he sold in the spring, doubling his money. He had done the wise thing. He was out with a profit. But then he watched the price keep climbing. He watched lesser men grow richer than he was. And the greatest scientist in history was overwhelmed by the oldest feeling of all. He bought back in, near the very top, with a huge sum. And in the autumn of 1720, the South Sea bubble burst. Shares collapsed from over 1,000 back down toward 100. Banks failed, families were ruined, and Isaac Newton lost around £20,000. A fortune, millions in today's money. He is said to have remarked afterward that he could calculate the motions of the heavenly bodies, but not the madness of people. Read that again. The man who could predict the planets could not predict his own neighbors. Because a bubble is not really about tulips or stocks. It is about us. It runs on feelings no equation can capture. Greed, envy, hope, and above all, fear. The fear of watching others get rich without you. And that fear has not changed in 400 years, which is exactly why the pattern never dies. You might think we would have learned by now. We have not. Because each time the bubble wears a new disguise. And each time people say the same 4 words. This time is different. It never is. The object changes. The feeling is identical. In 1841, a writer named Charles Mackay gathered these manias into a famous book. He called it the madness of crowds. Men, he wrote, think in herds and go mad in herds while they recover their senses slowly and one by one. That was nearly 2 centuries ago, and we have proven him right over and over. In the 1920s, everyone piled into a soaring stock market, right up until the crash of 1929. In the late 1990s, it was internet companies, with no profits and dazzling promises. The dot-com bubble swelled and burst. Then it was houses, then digital coins. Each time a new generation discovers the feeling and is certain that they are the exception, that their tulip is the real one. But the mechanics are always the same. Easy money looking for somewhere to go. A story too exciting to resist. Prices rising on nothing but the hope of selling higher. And a crowd all watching each other, too afraid of missing out to walk away. Bubbles are not a flaw in a few foolish people. They are a feature of all people. They are what happens when ordinary human hope is poured into a rising price. You are not immune. Newton was not immune. The smartest person you know is not immune. Because it does not target your intelligence. It targets something far older. The part of you that cannot bear to watch others win while you stand still. So what does this leave you with? Not a way to never feel it. You will feel it. One day something will be soaring. Your friends will be making easy money. And a voice will whisper that this time is different. That you are being left behind. That you, unlike all the fools before you, will somehow know exactly when to get out. When that day comes, remember the tulip. Remember a flower worth a house that a week later was worth almost nothing. Remember John Law fleeing in disguise. Remember Isaac Newton, the smartest man alive, ruined by a feeling. None of this means every rise is a lie. Real value exists. Real things really do grow. The hard part is that, near the top, a bubble and a true boom look almost exactly the same. The only real defense is to know the pattern, to feel the pull and recognize it for what it is. An ancient instinct, fired inside a modern casino. For 400 years, the crowd has gone mad. In the same way, for the same reasons. Tulips, stocks, houses, coins. The object is only ever a costume. Underneath it is always the same story. Us watching each other, afraid to be left behind. You were taught that bubbles are about markets. They are not. They are about people. And the next one is always closer than it looks.